I'm a teddy bear. Look at my little ears. He's so cute. Aren't they so cute? Assalamualaikum everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Look, I love this sweater. It is so soft and warm and fuzzy and cute. It's a little bit hot, but it's worth it. So, so cute. Last video, I promised you all that I would give you an update on what happened the last month or so. And I said that I wasn't able to make videos because of, you know, Ramadan and a lot of things going on, and some of those things was also final exams. But the main thing that was going on was actually my grandma, my dad's mom. She and I are very close. We've been close literally since I was born. She wasn't feeling well. So usually, like, she stays with us 6 months in America, and then she goes back to Pakistan for 6 months to live with my aunt. And you know, she happened to go back to Pakistan, and then COVID happened, so she was kind of like stuck there for the past 2-3 years. And obviously, you know, for elderly people, it's very hard to travel back and forth, especially the flight is like at least 14 hours. So it's super long and difficult for her now. So she just stayed in Pakistan after that. Obviously, the risk of COVID and everything like that too, we didn't want to risk anything. So she was there. So I hadn't seen her for a couple of years, and it turns out that her health was declining very rapidly. At first, you know, I started off with her falling down and breaking her hip. And then, you know, alhamdulillah, the surgery went well, everything was successful. Then a few days later, she had to go back to the hospital because of other complications, you know, like with the lungs, and then a little bit later with the heart, and then a little bit later with other things like an infection of some sort or lack of oxygen or something. Like, everything was just going wrong. And you know, a lot of times, like, it was very confusing, like, why is everything happening, like all these tests and stuff. And also, you know, in a time where, you know, COVID is such a big thing, and you know, still a thing actually, and it's very scary. And you know, the worst part of it all is that usually when my grandma would feel ill or something, she would be here with me, so I would be able to do things, me and my parents, to take care of her. But you know, when she's all the way across on the other side of the planet, it's like, well, what can I do except make dua for her and pray? So, you know, during Ramadan, as all these things were happening, it was really hard for me to like focus, not just on, like, you know, my channel, but that's the least of my concern. My studies, I didn't want to study. I kept being distracted, and I honestly, like, I don't feel like I did as much during Ramadan as I should have, like, worship wise. I feel like usually in previous years I do a lot more, whether it's planning events or, you know, reading Quran or teaching or something like that, praying, even like tahajjud or something, I don't know. I didn't think that I did as much as I should, and that guilt also kind of was eating away at me, because it's like, you know, Ramadan only comes once a year, and now I have to wait a whole year, and I feel like I just wasted my time. So I should have taken more advantage of it. So, you know, all these emotions were going on around the same time frame, and it was very stressful. I'm very emotional. Surprise. So it was a hard time, and plus the fact that I never experienced, you know, a loss of a close relative before. I don't know how to react in the situation. Like, I don't know, because I never went through that. Like, so that was really scary too. Especially like my grandma. I can't imagine a life without her. I really can't. And of course, like, everyone has to go one day, and including myself, but it's a very scary thought. And those of you who have lost a loved one, you could, you know, be a witness to that, like how hard it is. So my other aunt went to visit her, and she was saying that no, like, she is not good, basically. Like, you know, she was bedridden, and she was at a point where she was like losing her memory. And I found out that a lot of, like, she was like sleeping most of the day, so she wasn't really eating either. And you know, because of the medicine and stuff, she was going in and out of consciousness. And when she would snap back into reality, kind of, in the few moments that she wasn't sleeping, she would just be calling out my name. And you know, that literally broke my heart. And when I'd call her, it didn't really seem like she was there all the way. And you know, just like seeing her, or like, you know, my family sending like pictures of updates and stuff, it broke my heart seeing her so weak and in that stage, because I've never seen her like that. The hardest part for me was like trying to remain strong for her sake. My dad was planning to visit her a few months later, like in July. But my aunt told him, like, listen, if you want to visit her, you better come now, because if she doesn't remember, there's no point. So my dad basically booked his ticket, and I found out my dad was going, and he asked me, like, do you want to go too? And honestly, I was hesitant. I was like, I don't know yet. I will think about it and I'll let you know. Why? Because it was so sudden, and you know, it was my final exam week, and I was really stressed out because of studying and stuff. Plus, I only had like 10 days in between, right after my final exams, before I started my internship. I had a lot of preparation to do for my internship. And you know, COVID, obviously a big thing, going to a hospital and doctor's office, you can't be sick, obviously. And there was no way to move that date, my starting date. Like, I had to be back by then. So I was like, is 10 days gonna even be enough? Plus, like, the fact that I hate flying. You know, I'm scared of flying, you know, especially like takeoff and landing, and like when there's turbulence in there. Like, once you're in the air and it's stabilized, the plane, then I'm okay. But long flights kind of, you know, stress me out a little bit. I get kind of anxious. I was just like thinking way too much, basically. I thought to myself that, you know, if God forbid something were to happen to her and I didn't end up going to visit, it would have been the biggest regret of my life, and I would have never forgiven myself. So once that thought came into my brain, I was like, I have to go. Like, there's no excuse not to go. I mean, she loves me so much. She makes so much dua for me. Honestly, like, any blessing that I have is because of her duas, really, even though I don't really do anything. So the least I could do is at least be there. If I have the opportunity to go visit, alhamdulillah, then I should take it. So that's what I did. I told my dad that I wanted to go, and when he started booking my ticket, he realized that my visa was expired. And usually it takes at least a week for the visa to get accepted in the paperwork. And my dad was literally leaving in like 5 days, like literally right after Eid prayer, he was gonna go to the airport. And you know, my dad, you know, submits the paperwork and application and stuff, and at this point I'm anxiously waiting. 1 day passes, and 2 days, and 3 days, and I'm freaking out, and I'm so mad at myself, so frustrated, so upset, because I didn't understand why I waited so long, why I delayed it so much, why I was hesitating so much. Because if I said yes sooner, then my visa would have come in time, and you know, everything would have been fine. So I was praying and praying and praying and making so much dua that, ya Allah, if it's better, please allow my visa to be accepted and come quickly. You know, when Dadu, I call her Dadu, when my dad told her that I was gonna come with him, inshallah, if like everything was good, she literally like perked up. She really was looking forward to see me at this point. Actually, it was funny. My dad, as a joke to kind of mess with my grandma, he said only one of us can come, either me or Urub, so you have to pick one. And she said without a moment hesitation, she's like, Urub, obviously, like, you stay, send her. So alhamdulillah, some way, somehow, well, obviously it's all because of the will of Allah, my visa was accepted in like a couple of days, and I was off, my ticket was booked and everything, so I was set to come. And alhamdulillah, like, it was by far, hands down, the best decision I made in my life. I'm so glad that I went, because I kid you not, the moment I walked in her door and I saw her and she saw me, she just was like life had been brought back into her, like seeing me and my dad. And alhamdulillah, like, you know, as the days went by, we were there for 10 days. Each and every single day, alhamdulillah, mashallah, she was feeling a lot better and she was improving. And by the time we left Pakistan, she was even walking a little bit. So, you know, it literally went from her being totally dependent, like completely like not even being able to move or like breathe properly, to her taking her first couple of steps. Even my aunt said that it's like it's a miracle, like how Alhamdulillah, she improved and just completely, like, she had the willpower to just get better, for my sake or for my dad's sake, and the joy that, you know, she felt, and the longing and the gratefulness that I came all this way across the world just to see her, it truly, she felt amazing. I mean, I can't even explain to you her emotions. She couldn't even explain her emotions to me. Alhamdulillah, I'm so happy, and you know, may Allah give her health and a long healthy life, and for her not to be like dependent on anyone, and for her to have that strength to be better, and inshallah witness me and my marriage and like happiness. That's her last wish, by the way, to see my wedding, inshallah. Basically, like, my message to you all is that if you have a loved one, especially relatives and family, especially your parents or grandparents and people who care about you a lot and stuff and pray for you a lot and, you know, love you a lot, you know, you can't repay them obviously, but do your best to do whatever you can, because they're not going to be there forever. And, you know, don't take them for granted. Don't take advantage of their love for you. Do whatever you can in whatever way possible, no matter where they are in the world. And, you know, even if it's just talking to them, if you can't meet them in person, just like calling grandparents, even though it's just a couple of minutes, it means the world to them. It really does. Like, they're so happy to hear my voice, and it's the little things that count, really, and they remember. So, you know, do the best you can, and Allah will surely reward you. Keep in contact with your extended family as well, like your cousins and siblings, even after you grow up and become independent and all that, you know, because at the end of the day, family is family, and you'll always be there for each other, you know, support wise and stuff. So it's good to maintain those relations, and don't waste your time before it's too late. You don't want to have that kind of regret. So, you know, may Allah grant all of our loved ones health. May Allah grant all of us the strength and opportunity to, you know, do as much as we can for them. And, you know, may Allah have mercy on us all. Ameen. Say Ameen. And yeah, I hope you guys found this video helpful. I hope you guys were able to relate in some way, maybe. I love to read your comments, so don't forget to share your thoughts. And inshallah, I will see you next time. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.